The most outstanding contribution out of my research on Mahabharata is the identification of Saguni as a Jew. The factors that led me to the conclusion are the following. 1. The palace built by Saguni to kill the Pandavas wasn't lac palace. It was made of amber. It was an amber palace. 2. Lac was extracted in India about 3000 years ago only. Hence, it wasn't there when Mahabharata happened. 3. There are evidences to prove that Mahabharata happened 5000 years ago. 4. There is evidence to prove that Tamils did amber trade with the Slovaks 5000 years ago. 5. Jews were always middlemen in trade and they did trading in amber, gold, diamond, iron and Indian spices, etc. Hence, Jews came to ancient Tamil land for trade. 6. Saguni was a trouble creator and he is responsible for Mahabharata War. And Jews are responsible for wars all over the world. Hence, Saguni shall be a Jew. 7. Saguni used gambling as a tool to trigger Mahabharata War, and Jews are known gamblers. 8. Saguni always wore black, and Jews wear black always. Jews secretly worship Kali. Kali is the goddess of war and destruction. 9. Jews use women as a tool to achieve business and political gains. Saguni brought and married a Khazarian Jewish white woman to Dhritarashtra to achieve business gains, especially the iron trade of the Kauravas of Cheranadu 5000 years ago. These were the factors that led me to reason that Saguni was a Jew. In this video, I am providing further proof that Saguni was indeed a Jew. Before that, I shall clarify a few points. Lac was produced about 3000 years ago only. To prove that lac wasn't invented during Mahabharata, I am establishing that Mahabharata indeed happened 5000 years ago as in the following. The Mayan calendar was created 5125 years ago, which ended on 2012. It was also described as the fifth sun and a dark Yuga by the Mayans. Krishna is said to have declared Kali Yugam 5100 years ago. There was intimate connection between ancient Mayans and Tamils. The time of origin of Mayan calendar and the time of declaration of Kali Yugam are the same, which is about 5100 years ago. After 2012, Satya Yugam has dawned as originally proposed by Krishna. Mayans also call this new era as Golden Era and call it as sixth sun. Next proof that Mahabharata War happened 5000 years ago is through the connection between Islam and Mahabharata. I had already established that Hagar was the descendant of royal Kauravas from Cheranadu who left Cheranadu as refugees after losing the Mahabharata War. She was the second wife of Abraham and Abraham lived about 4000 years ago. Hence, it proves that Mahabharata happened 5000 years ago. As yet another proof, Aryabhatta had published Aryabhattayam in the year 500 AD. He had stated that he was publishing Aryabhattayam in the 3600th year of Kali Yuga. Thus, according to Aryabhattaya, Kali Yugam started 3100 BC. Hence, it is established beyond doubt that Kali Yugam started 5000 years ago. Having established that Mahabharata happened 5000 years ago, all the above mentioned points stand verified. I would now offer further proof that Saguni was a Jew. One of the new evidences that I am providing is through the ancient Tamil words which originated out of Jews. There are three words which are related to Mahabharata. They are 1. Sud, 2. Yuddham, 3. Yukti. 1. Sudu means unfair act. Sudata means gambling. The root cause of Mahabharata war was gambling. Saguni invited Pandyas for gambling. Saguni was known to be a Jew to the people concerned. Jew was called in Tamil as Yuda. Yudu, Sudu, Sudu. We know that Saguni conducted unfair dice game and defeated Pandyas by cheating. This unfair act is called Sudu, and when the same is played with betting, it is called Sudatam. Hence, betting, an alien method, was brought to Tamil land through Saguni the Jew. 2. After defeating Pandavas in Sudatam, Saguni made them to wander the forest for 12 years. Even after 12 years of wandering the forest and 1 year Anyadavasam, Saguni was unwilling to concede to the agreed terms. That resulted in war, the Mahabharata War. Hence, the war was due to Saguni, the Jew, called Yuga in Tamil. Yuga, Yudam, Yuddam. The Tamil word Yuddam resulted from Yuda, the ancient form of the word Judah, referring to the Jews. The Jews are alleged to be the warmongers, and all the world wars are due to the Jews, and the Middle East unrest is due to the Jews. It is extremely surprising that even Mahabharata War, which happened 5000 years ago, originated out of Saguni, the Jew. 3. The Jews are known for their cunning deeds. All the deeds of secret societies are indeed cunning deeds. Yuda, Yukta, Yukti. Yukti means cunning strategy. This word came into being due to Saguni, the Jew. Thus, Sudu meaning unfair act, Yuddham meaning war, and Yukti meaning cunning strategy, where the words evolved 5000 years ago during Mahabharata War due to Saguni, who was a Jew. These three Tamil words prove that Saguni was indeed a Jew, and it was well known to the people at that time. Kindly remember that the word Yuddham meaning war originated out of Jews. It is well known that Jews make up all the secret societies of the world, the instigators of the wars. The first secret society of the world, called Mason, was created by Moses. In fact, Moses is the title name originating from the fact that it was he who created the first ever secret society. Mason, Mosen, Moses. The fact that he created the first ever secret society called Mason is retained for the posterity by the horns of Moses, which represent the horns of Baphomet, the original logo of Masonry, which was designed out of goat. It is these horns of Moses that the most powerful people of the world are displaying on important occasions. These powerful people are either Illuminati themselves or the agents of Illuminati. By displaying this symbol, they symbolically state that the world is under their control. But the general public is unaware that it is not an auspicious symbol but a devil's symbol crafted out of Baphomet, which represent the goat of Masonry. Why goat? Goat is called in Tamil as Mesam. This name originated from the sound the goat makes. Ma, Mesam. Ma, Mesam. The goat herder is called Mason. Mesam, Mason. Compared to sheep, the goats are very intelligent ones and hence difficult to herd. Hence, a goat herder, the Mason, was seen as a very capable person. Like a goat herder who herds the goat, the secret society herds the global population with their secret agenda. Hence, the secret society was also called Mason, the expert herder. That's how the first secret society was called Mason. This is called as Freemasons as of now. The Freemasons of today forgot this history and hence are having compass as their logo, thinking that masonry was associated with the construction. Alas, they are unaware that even construction masonry evolved out of goat herding mason, and mason means a general supervisor or taskmaster. All the secret societies who are affiliates of Freemasons are responsible for all wars of the world. All these secret societies are run by Jews. The other evidence to prove that Saguni was a Jew is related to the declaration of emergence of Kali Yuga by Krishna. It was Krishna who propounded Yuga concept. Krishna actually propounded 5 Yuga concept, but the Jewish Brahmins made it into 4 Yuga concept. We would soon know the reason. Initially, man lived predominantly on the mountains. This time period was called Kreta Yuga. Kretam means mountain. The way of life of people of this era led to the properties that characterized this Yuga. Then, man came down to forest land and started to live as a herder of livestock. The period that man lived in the forest was called Treta Yuga. Tamil word Tharai means ground which deformed to Thra when pronounced by Jewish Brahmins. Hence, the period of man's pastoral life in the forest is called Treta Yuga. The way of life of people of this era led to the properties that characterized Treta Yuga. The man then learns agriculture and starts his next era as farmer. He starts agriculture in the fertile delta region of the rivers by destroying the forest by burning it. The Kauravas of the mountain of Tamil land object to the burning of the forest. Saguni, the Jew who came to Tamil land for trade, lived with the Kauravas of the Cheranadu. He contrived many plans to subdue the prosperous agriculturist Pandyas whom he envied. The end result was the war with huge damage to humankind. Pandyas, with the help of the intellectual called Krishna, won the war and agriculture flourished thereafter. The Pandyas, who performed agriculture in the delta region, were also engaged in fishing as the sea was adjacent to the delta region. Thus, Pandyas controlled two vast regions, one of which is agricultural land and the other was the sea land. Pandyas had migrated from Lanka and they were already controlling these two vast regions in Lanka too. Hence, controlling two vast regions, this era was called Dwapara Yuga. Dwa means two and Para means vast. It is in this era that Mahabharata War happened. After the Mahabharata War, Krishna lived for about 35 years. He declared that Kali Yuga would start on the day he dies. This is the central point of our discussion. Why should Kali Yuga start on the day of his death? Why should it be called Kali Yuga? Did he ever say when Kali Yuga would end? What would be the name of the Yuga that comes after Kali Yuga? We would soon find answers for these questions. All the previous Yugas were characterized by lands people lived in, as it should be. Kreta Yuga refers to the mountain. Treta Yuga refers to the forest land. Dwapara Yuga refers to both agricultural land and sea land. Thus, the three Yugas covered four types of lands. On the other hand, the fourth Yuga is called after Kali, the goddess of war. But as Kali is the goddess of desert land, obviously the fourth Yuga indirectly refers to the desert land. These five types of lands are documented as Kurinji, Mullai, Marudam, Neidal and Palai in Tamil literature. But Krishna lived in South India and there is no desert in South India. Hence, it should be surprising that he called the fourth Yuga after the desert land. But there is no surprise at all. Kali Yugam started in India due to people who came into India and those people came from desert region. Saguni, who originally belonged to the Kasar region, came to India through Persian Gulf and he crossed the Sumerian desert. Saguni was a person who came from the desert land and who introduced Sudu here and he brought Yuddham, the war, the Mahabharata War. Thus, Krishna should have declared Kali Yugam after the Jews as they brought destruction. Obviously, Krishna knew that Jews are related to Kali. Before analyzing the connection between Jews and Kali, we shall find the reason why Krishna stated that Kali Yugam would start on the day of his death. The Yugas weren't demarcated by specific dates. For instance, Krishna didn't say when Krita Yuga ended and Treta Yuga started. He also did not state when Treta Yuga ended and Dwapara Yuga started. Obviously, no one shall indicate when those Yugas changed as the change was a gradual process. On the other hand, the same Krishna categorically stated when Dwapara Yuga ended and Kali Yuga started. He stated that Dwapara Yuga would end and Kali Yuga would start on the day of his demise. This is a surprising fact. Why should he state like this? Krishna knew very well that Mahabharata War happened due to Saguni, who was a Jew. Krishna also knew very well that Jews were traders and create problems in the societies wherever they go. We all know very well that Krishna moved to seaport called Dwarka after the war. That Dwarka was nothing but Kollam port. According to my surmise, he moved to Dwarka with the specific task of restricting Jewish movement into Tamil land. I surmise Krishna should have slapped a huge entry tax on Jews to discourage them from coming to Tamil land for trade. Krishna did this to preserve peace in Tamil land. But Krishna was skeptical of the status quo after his demise. Hence, as Jews are very cunning, Krishna suspected that Jews would gain entry to Tamil land after his demise and cause troubles here. Hence, he stated that after his death, Kali Yugam would be born. We now have to explain the connection of Kali to Jews. When Kumarikandam, otherwise called as Lemuria, submerged under the sea, a specific family who lived on a tiny island in Lemuria built a ship to escape the deluge. That ship with Noah's family was carried to Ararat mountain in the East Anatolia, where it finally rested. As these people survived the floods without getting drowned into the waters, they called themselves as inflated people who can't be drowned. Lemurian continent was Tamil-speaking continent. Obviously, Noah spoke Tamil. Udu means inflate in Tamil. Udu, Yudu, Judu, Judea. That is how Noah's family called itself as Judean. Obviously, Noah's children made up the Jewish race. He had 3 children, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. In my opinion, the descendants of Ham were called Sephardic Jews. The descendants of Shem were called Semitic Jews. The descendants of Japheth were called Ashkenazi Jews. As Noah's boat landed on Ararat mountain, Kasa region became the new homeland. Kasa region should have got its name from the word kasu, a Tamil word referring to money, which was made of metallic coins in ancient times. In fact, English word cash originated from kasu, meaning money in Tamil. As Jews were traders from time immemorial and they were having lots of money called as kasu, and hence Jews should have been called kaser, meaning possessors of money. Hence, the region where Jews lived was called Kaser region, Kasa region. Noah somehow thought that his family alone survived the floods. Hence, he thought that he and his children were the chosen people of the God. Noah did not know that all parts of Lemuria did not submerge and the surviving people lived in India, Africa, Australia, and China, and perhaps even the Americas. Hence, his descendants lived for millennia thinking that they are the chosen people of the God, and this faulty idea got entrenched in their mind and blood. We have so far explained how the word Judea originated, and how the Kasa region became the homeland of Jews, and how the Kasa region got its name. We now have to explain the connection between the Jews and Kali, the goddess of war. When Noah left Lemuria, there were only 2 gods. One was Shiva and the other was Kali. There was no idol worship in those times. But Noah carried the spiritual heritage of Lemuria with him when he left Lemuria. Shiva was also called Yakoba, meaning southern king. This became Yehovah or Jehovah, the Jewish god. As Shiva was related to sun and light as per ancient Tamil tradition, Jews called Yehovah as Elohim. As Shiva was having a stack of hair, he was called Sadayon in Tamil, and this became El Shaddai in Judaism. The ancient Jews perhaps knew that Shiva was a human god. They should have also known that Kali was a conceptual goddess. The ancient Jews remembered and emotionally worshipped Kali by wearing black dress. That's how the favorite color of Jews became black. They knew that Kali was the goddess of war and destruction. Not knowing the full conceptual understanding of Kali, they perhaps mistook that the way to worship Kali was to create wars and destruction. That might explain the reason why the Jews instigate wars and destruction all over the world. They might be offering human sacrifice through wars to please their goddess Kali. This is purely due to gross misunderstanding of the concept called Kali. We shall now understand the dynamics of Mahabharata War. The Jews are having the false notion that they are the chosen people of the God. But Pandyas were very prosperous agriculturists and were very advanced in technology and culture. This irritated Jews who were under the illusion that they are the chosen people. Thus, they had a reason to destroy Pandyas. Hence, Saguni, the Jew, used the friction between Pandyas and Kauravas to instigate the war, the Mahabharata War. By creating the war, Jews were also offering human sacrifice to their goddess Kali. Thus, we now understand the connection between Kali and Jews. Krishna also understood the connection. Obviously, he called the Yugam which would be characterized by the Jewish hegemony as Kali Yugam. The single point description of Kali Yugam is there was injustice in Kali Yugam. Yes, there has never been real justice all over the world, including India. Why? All over the world, including India, judiciary is manned by the Jews. The Jews had the strong belief that they are the chosen people. The Jewish Brahmins of India, who drafted and advocated the infamous Manu Dharma, held the same view that they are the special people compared to the rest of India. When judiciary is manned by people who think that they are the chosen people, how can there ever be justice? The Jews, being traders, they lived in every important nation as a small minority. But they developed a strong bond to the ruling class of every nation, most often terrorizing the monarchies with their cunning deeds. In Egypt, they subdued the monarchy by offering Abraham's wife to the royalty. The same phenomena happened in India 1,000 years before that. Saguni, the Jew, brought the white Jewish woman and got her married to Dhritarashtra of Mahabharata. Through that marital relationship, he won the iron trade of the Kauravas. He also led the Kauravas to Mahabharata War in an effort to destroy the Pandyas. Thus, in every nation, Jews controlled the governance. When they controlled the governance of nations, they also controlled the judiciary, which is a key part of the governance. Hence, they had been controlling the judiciary of the world for the past 5,000 years. That is precisely the reason that the word judiciary originated out of Judah. Judah, judiciary. I am displaying the etymological root of the word judiciary. The earlier form of the word judicium was judicium, which originated from the word Yuda, an ancient word for Judah. As judiciary originated out of Judah, there wasn't any justice in the world for the past 5,000 years, which characterizes the Kali Yuga. Hence, for the past 5,000 years, the world events were controlled by the Jewish community, and that's how the Yuga was called after Kali, the goddess of Jews. Thus, Krishna predicted the future, and he stated that Kali Yugam would start after his death. Now the question is whether Krishna also predicted the end of Kali Yugam. Yes, indeed. I am showing the web page from the speaking tree. It says, citing Brahma Vaivarta Purana, that Krishna predicted that Kali Yugam would end in about 5,000 years after its beginning. He also seems to have predicted that golden era would start then and that would last for 10,000 years. This was known to the Mayans, and hence they made their Kali Yuga calendar accordingly. That calendar ended on 2012, about 5,125 years after its creation. Thus, we have definitely entered Satya Yugam, a golden period in human evolution. The visible proof that we have entered Satya Yugam is the launch of 3G and 4G internet technology after 2010, which enabled the transmission of video data through internet. Just like we knew categorically that Kali Yugam was born on the day Krishna died, we also know exactly when Kali Yugam ended and Satya Yugam started. Satya Yugam started from 2013 onwards. The Jewish Brahmins of India should have known very well that Kali Yugam characterized the Jewish hegemony. They could not digest the fact that their hegemony is coming to an end. Hence, to fool the Indians, they are stating that Kali Yugam would go on for another 4,32,000 years based on some skewed calculations, which is completely absurd. The Yuga times proposed by the Brahmins are absolute nonsense and doesn't tally with the scientific data on human evolution. As said already, they abhorred the prophecy by Krishna that Satya Yugam would dawn again and that would end the hegemony of the Jews. Hence, to make us believe that Kali Yugam is the last Yugam, they called the Satya Yugam as another name of Kreta Yugam. Some of the qualities of Kreta Yugam matched with the qualities of Satya Yugam, which encouraged them to lie this way. That's how Kreta Yugam got another name, Satya Yugam, whereas all other Yugams are called by just one name each. When the Brahmin's idea of Yuga is a mischievous nonsense, Yogi Yukteswar's interpretation of Yuga, though sensible, was also not correct. He failed to consider Satyayugam, which was the fifth Yuga. Moreover, Yugas doesn't cycle as stated by Yukteswar. If at all Yugas would repeat, it would be that after Satyayugam, the human world might end by another catastrophe and it would restart Yugas the same way as it has already done. That is, the world might abruptly end and restart with the Kreta Yugam again. Of the so many ideas about the Yuga concept, none of them is correct except mine. The reason for that is that I alone gave the meaning of the names of Yuga and no one else gave its true meaning. The Yuga concept was propounded by Krishna, the Tamil, and hence a Tamil alone could decode it. Moreover, the Yuga concept is intimately connected to Mahabharata, and my treatise superbly connects the points, and Mahabharata too happened in South Tamil Nadu. The Yuga characterized the life of people in different types of lands as explained in this video. My treatise on the Yuga concept is a benchmark. The answer of Satya Yugam states one ultimate truth. The Jewish hegemony of the world is coming to an end. It is written on the wall. The Jewish community should read the warning sign. It is time they correct their absurd notions about themselves. They are not the chosen people. All the humans of the world are equal to one another. The God doesn't differentiate between his own creations. If he differentiates, he cannot be a God. They should also realize that their scriptures do not reflect reality. They were indeed created by short-sighted forefathers of their community. We shall write anything in our books, but we should realize that God has his own scheme. If the Jews do not correct their course, the future might not be sympathetic to them.